Okay, Georgia, thank you for the stars. All right, you guys, so we've got about 75 people on, so I'm gonna jump right in, okay? So tonight we're going to be doing part 4, hi Patricia, part 4 of the tree set. Yes, we're on part 4. And we actually have one more week of trees, and I was considering doing both of them today, and then I thought, you know what? We're going to be doing 2 of the big trees, and so I thought, let's wait, let's hold off, and then we'll start fresh into color theory the week after, okay? So I hope that's okay with everybody. Hi, Shelly. Hello, Melissa. Hello. Hi, Velda. I'm so happy you're stamping with me tonight. Who's going to stamp with me tonight? So as you saw on the product list, we're going to be using the large tree set. I'm just going to be doing this one because I really want to show you guys big trees. So what is not on the project list that I decided to do last minute was this one. And I don't know if I mentioned it last week, but I really wanted to show you guys the big tree, the one that you really have to put in your shadows and your highlights and all of that good stuff, because kind of prior to this, the previous trees, there wasn't much that went into the trunk, but I really wanted to focus on some details that would go into the trunk, okay? So I hope that's okay with everyone. Jerry, good to see you. Hello, Renee. Finished cleaning up from dinner just in time. Oh, hi Renee, I've been thinking about you. Big hugs to you, love you. Hi Ruth, yay, Tony's stamping with me. Okay, hi Tina. Hello, hi Denise. Okay. All right, so Barbara, don't worry about it. You know, all of us started somewhere. So even if you are a beginner, you gotta start somewhere, right? Get out those beautiful sets and go to a basics video so you can start with the first back to basics with me. That's gonna be all your foliage and flowers and all that good stuff. Certainly feel free to jump in. All of the videos on Tuesday nights are going to be basics videos. They're going to be videos that you can do as a beginner. So I'm really hesitant to do anything intermediate in these videos. I want this to be for beginners or a refresher course for those of you who have been doing this a long time, or maybe you've been doing it a long time, but you didn't realize there's a few little tips and tricks you missed along the way. So that's what these videos are for. So I do want to keep them really, really simple, okay? Teresa's stamping along. Great. Okay, so sets I'm going to be using, and I'll show you again when I flip the camera, is the large tree set, this one, and just that tree, just this big one here, and then this tree, and then this little door we're going to put in. And then I'm also using the foliage set one, which I use a ton, okay? So here are the samples that we're gonna do. So the first one we're gonna jump into is the large tree set, and that's gonna be that big giant tree in there. It's very, very simple, okay? And I'll show you it's super simple. And then we're gonna jump into the whimsical tree. And it's going to be very similar. We're just gonna expand our skills a little bit for this one, okay? So we'll jump right in. I saw a comment from Sheila. Or maybe we just love hanging out with you. I love you too. That makes me really happy. Oh my goodness, you guys, you bless me. Do you know that? I feel like we're just one big family. So you bless me and you make me happy, and I'm so happy to be here, and I hope I get to teach you just a little something tonight. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna flip around and then we're gonna get started on our projects, okay? So just give me a moment. Okay, so I'm just gonna snap into my little stand here and try to get my little mat and everything situated. I think I kind of bumped it when I was changing the screen. Okay, so I'm gonna zoom in a little bit. Okay, so I think we are good about here. All right, everybody. Teresa, let me show you the sets again. So the Whimsical set is the Watercolor Fairy Doors set. It's actually the Fairy Doors set. My apologies. So it's 50-56. 50-56. Okay. Thanks, Jerry. I just painted him today. Thank you. And the tree goes like this, and then you fill in all the foliage up in here, okay? And then we'll put in this little door so I can show you how to do that. But I just love this little set, and it comes with 2 cute little birds too, which are so cute. All right, and then we also have the large watercolor large tree set, 5373. And I'm just going to be doing this one. This one I've had a lot of requests on. People just not sure how to stamp it. So I'm going to show you how to do that super easy, okay? Melly, looks like I have a purchase to make. I mean, go for it. Hello, Kimberly Ann. My sister, my dear, dear sister is here in the comments. A lot of you guys remember her little Peeps tutorial. That's her, so make sure to say hi. Teresa, no problem. Deanna, isn't the fairy set? I know, I love it. It's so cute. Okay, so I'm going to take that large tree that I pointed out, and I'm going to put it on my 3x3 block here. Now I'm going to use water-based markers, and I'm going to color this stamp using 969. Okay, 969. And I'm just going to ink up the trunk here. And I'm going to go up to that little bushy part up in the top with that brown. I'm going to go all the way up to that bushy part. All the way up there, but I'm not going to get into the bush with this brown color. I'm going to go in with the green for that. And I'm going to use 177 for the green. Hi, Trish. Happy Tuesday. So happy to have you. Okay, 177. You guys, if I miss your comments, I'm so sorry. I'm trying to look over consistently so I don't miss anyone, but you know, I'm not perfect. Far from it. So I apologize if I miss you. Okay, so I'm going to take this stamp and I'm just going to stamp it down. Okay, you can, if you want to, stamp this off. I really like it to have a lot of color in the treetops especially. So I don't stamp this one off, but you can. You totally can. It's up to you. My mom would stamp it off. So it's really up to your preference, okay? Jerry, you have the set. Oh, good. Fantastic. Hi, Sue. Good to see ya. So happy you're here. All right, I'm going to take my brush. Now, if you remember, when you first get your brush wet, you want to open up those bristles and release the air bubbles. That is a big deal, okay? You want to release the air bubbles so that you get a really nice wash, even wash onto your paper. So let's zoom in even more so that you can see the details here. Hi, Carol. Great to see you. Happy you're here with us. Okay. I'm going to take that brush and just begin to pull out some of the color here. And I'm just pulling it out of the lines. I'm not tracing the lines. That's something we really try to teach you, to not trace the lines, but you're pulling the color out of the lines. Okay, you're just pulling a little bit of the color out of the lines, and we'll come back in and richen up this color a little bit. But for now, we just want to start and get a base in here. Okay, so keep going. And when you're doing something sort of like a cylinder, like a tree trunk, you're going to treat this as if it was like a pot. Okay, so if I were to cut it here, you would still have shadows on either side, and then the center would have a highlight, right? So that's how we're going to treat all of the branches. When you get into the really tiny branches, you don't need to worry about that so much. You know, a lot of these little teeny ones up here will actually be nice and dark. But when you get into the bigger trunk, down in here, you really want to have that center area highlighted, at least somewhat, okay? All right, so I'm going to zoom out just a little bit more so I can put in our foliage here. Hi, Jean. Karen's in the house. Karen from Stockton, California. Great to see you, girl. Okay, I'm going to take number 249, sorry. I used 177 in the branches, and I'm going to use 249 so I get a little bit different green. So when I add the water, it's actually going to jump out with that olive green and also that really beautiful pine green, this 249. All right, so this little leaf set, and actually I didn't point this out in the set, but this little leaf is going to be used with this tree. So you can use this leaf with any of these, but I'm going to use that one, specifically that one for this, okay? So 249. I'm going to ink that little leafy stamp, and I'm just going to start stamping all around. Whoa, I got it on my fingers. Oh no. You know what? It happens, you guys. It happens. And you know, the nice thing about that is that we have a little leaf stamp that can cover a lot of that up, thankfully. Okay, so I'm going to be mindful of my hands. I really like to rest my hands a lot. So I'm just going to kind of come over this and bring up, remember how we brought up the really light pieces up in the top and in the sides and then kept the darker area toward the center? We're gonna do that same thing, okay? Hi, Molly. Hello, hello. Love your markers, the printer. Yes, the printing, I know. We've used these quite a bit, and that will tell you how far they go, you know, because we use the same ones over and over. Good catch, Jerry. Okay, so I'm gonna keep going, and I'm gonna use the lighter areas to go over toward the back of this tree and bring those forward. And I'm gonna bring those back. And this tree is just gonna be really, really big. Do you see that? How we can just bring out that tree and give it a really thick, lush foliage just by using the lighter impression of the stamp. Thanks, Karen. Okay. So I'm gonna take my brush and we are going to dab. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see what I'm doing. And I'm just going to start dabbing with the side of my brush. And if I know this is helpful for some of you, is when you dab, you're using the side of the brush like this. You don't want to poke it like that. This is a no-no. You want to use the side of your brush. Okay? I'm going to come in with a little bit of water, a little too much water, and I'm just going to start dabbing. And do you see that green, that olive green sort of come out from the branches? And then if I bring some out here or under here, I love this stamp. A little dabble do ya? That's right, Catherine, sorry, my eyes. That's right, Catherine. A little dabble do ya. Okay. I keep going. Keely, it's common. It's really, really common. Poking is it's the natural thing to want to do, which is why we always bring it up, because you don't want to poke. You want to dab. Dab, dab, dab. Hi, Jean. Paula, good. I know it did for me too. When I first did it in a class, I was like, you know what? I don't know if I'm explaining this well. And so, but to see it from the side view, I'm just such a visual person. And I remember my students were all like, oh my gosh, that made like total sense, like so much more sense. when we could see it like from the side, you know. And so ever since then, I have showed it like that because I feel like it makes a big difference, especially if you're a visual learner, which I think a lot of us are. Dab, dab, dab. Notice I'm leaving lots of white space. Can you show us the size of the tree compared to the trees from last week? Diane, I don't even know if I have those samples with me right now. Let's see. I can show you I have the birch trees right here. So I have the birch trees, which I did a couple weeks ago. And that you can see the size difference here. Let's see what else I have. I don't know that I wish I would have thought about that. Because I don't think I have access to, maybe I'm looking in one more spot. Oh, yay, it's our lucky day. Okay, I found them. Okay, so, well, maybe these aren't it. So last week we did the seasons. I definitely don't have that one on me. Okay. But I do have these. So remember we did the foreground, middle ground, background, and that's going to be a side by side of this. Now, note we haven't finished the trunk yet. Okay. So that's going to make it feel even bigger. All right. And then also, we did the little fir trees that last time too. I think this was, this one was part 2, I believe. Okay, so that is the size difference. Great question, Diane. Thanks for that. I wish I would have thought of that and prepared better so you could see the difference. Okay, I hope that was helpful. And then we are going to finish up our little trunk here, and then we'll put a sky and a little bit of grass. And that is it. But isn't this tree actually pretty simple? It's pretty straightforward. I really like the simple trees, you know, just go in with a little bit of green and then your trunk. So I'm going to grab the 969. So 969. And I'm going to put that on my palette. Okay. Is that Claire on Art Impressions? Hello. Hi, Anna. Hello, good to see you. If that is the lovely Claire. Hello, Claire. I don't know who's on the AI page, though. Okay, who's monitoring that? Okay, so I am going to... It's me, Claire. Hi, Claire. Oh my goodness. Thanks for joining. I know it's a late day for you. Thank you for being on. Okay, so I'm going to take my brush. You guys, if you haven't seen Claire on Fridays with Claire, go check her out. The videos are saved on Facebook. She is just so much fun. Go check her out. She's so warm and sweet and smart and creative. And she will show you all these really adorable cards that she's come up with and different ways to use the stamps. So definitely check her out. Okay. So this is a great tree. I know, Diane. It's a really nice tree. And I like it because it's got a lot of detail you can put into the trunk. If you are wanting more detail than some of the previous ones, like we showed you prior, like these. This is what I mean by you don't really do a ton with the trunks, you know, if they're kind of set back. But if you want more details to go into your trunk, then I would grab something like this or the Whimsical tree that we're going to show as well. Okay, so I'm just going to take a little bit more of that 969. And I'm going to keep this really simple. I'm going to go in with my, my little twin tone marker. What I want to remember is that I need to have highlights in the center. Even if I fill in this a little bit more, I still need to have highlights in the center of this trunk because it's round. All right. Now I'm going to take my grass and just put a little bit of grass in the base. Give it a little place to sit. Okay. And I'm just going to ink that. Put a little bit of, this tree could be made lots taller too. Oh yeah, you can make it really, really tall. And you can also add some of the branches to it if you want to. You can make any of the trees taller by adding some branches or just elevating your foliage. Okay. But I hope I didn't cut off the screen on that piece. Okay, so I'm going to put in a little bit of the sky in the background, and I'm going to use number 565. 565, just a little bit of ink there. Okay. Amy, that would be a really good idea if you were doing like one of those cards that you use the masking tape, you know, and you kind of set it off to the side, and then you use the trunk, and then you made the tree super tall so that it was kind of coming off the page with that masking paper. I think that would be super pretty. Okay, I'm going to take that 565 and just dump it into the background here. Now, when you're doing the big trees, you don't want to go over the top. Remember that? So you don't want to go over the top. You just want to do a little bit of that blue right next to the trunk. Oh, Jerry, that would be so cute. A bicycle. Yes. I love that you're getting creative and thinking about how you would add on to this. That's my goal, to just introduce you to the project and then you take it and run with it. That's really what I want to do, because adding a bike, that immediately takes it to intermediate, which is what I want. I want you to take the basic and make it yours. Okay, I want you to grow and learn and take these lessons. And Amy, great idea, slimline. I love it. Take these lessons and run with them. Okay, so how simple was this? Cut it out, put it on a card, and you are good to go. Okay, of course we need to sign our work. And actually I was gonna put a little bit of detail in here. So I'm using the twin tone brown. I'm just gonna put a little bit more detail into here where I want some more contrast. And with these trunks that are a little bit bigger, you can actually put a lot of details yourself in. So if you want like a little hole or something like that, you can do that. I'm gonna come up and just darken this up a little bit. These can be darker. And do you see the contrast that that does? It's just amazing. Yes, Becky. Great idea. I love it. Yes, yes, yes. Becky says initials in the trunk. So cute. So, so cute. Okay, Deanna. She's gonna go watch the rocket launch. Oh my goodness. I didn't even know that was happening tonight. Have fun. Yes, Amy, we need a squirrel. So cute. Oh, I got a sign. Okay, maybe I'll do what Becky said and put my initials in the trunk. And that's my signature. How about that? Becky, good idea. And a picnic basket. Yes, I love it. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to our little whimsical tree. All right, and for those of you just joining, this one is the Watercolor Fairy door set. So, and it's 3 little doors and they go into this big tree, okay? Comes with 2 little birds. This is 5056. All right. Yes, Victoria, a bench on the side of the tree. That would be so cute. Oh, I love that idea. Okay, so we're gonna jump right into this now. what we did in the last tree is going to be very similar to this one. It's just on a bigger scale. Okay. Thanks, Tina. Okay. We're going to take our watercolor paper and let's see what side. I think I want the smooth side. Doesn't matter which side you use. You can use smooth or toothy. Okay, I'm going to switch over my tree here. And I am going to ink this using that 969. Okay, when you're doing a bigger tree, you want to plan to have a couple browns because you're closer to the tree. You're going to need some differentiation in bark texture. So I would just grab a lighter brown as well. I've got number 977 that we're going to use on the palette too. And then also 2 greens. So I'm going to use 969 to ink this tree. So 969, I'm going to go all around this guy and I'm just going to ink this up. Now this doesn't have any top branches where the leaves would be, so we're actually going to add the leaves using the foliage set 1 vine. Okay, take that. You can stamp it off if you want to. I want a nice heavy ink. So I'm just going to use the stamp as is. Okay. Now I'm going to put in the door. I have already pre-stamped it onto my little positioner acrylic little pane, a little square, okay, or rectangle. So I'm going to put that in, and I'm going to decide where I want it, about here, so I'll get that ready, and then I need to ink my door, which is going to be this one. And I'm going to do this in the brown and the blue so that I get a nice gray tone. I don't want everything to be brown. So I'm going to get 565 and 969 to give us that really nice gray. Now this I will stamp off. This is going to be a really dense ink, so I'm going to stamp this off once. And I'm going to decide where I want that. Give that a little huff if you need. Stamp it into the tree, just like that. I know, me too, Allison. Aren't they cute? They're just so darling. Thanks, Vanessa. Vanessa just sent 150 stars. Thank you. Okay, appreciate that. All right, so now I'm gonna take my brush and I'm gonna start putting in some of the shadows in here. I'm gonna start building this color. And then while that's drying, I'm gonna start putting in the foliage up top, okay? But for this tree, you really do need quite a bit of building of your color because you've got to have dark and light variations. Every one of these little variants in the trunk, that's gonna have a highlight in the center because it's round, right? So this is going to be round. It's a cylinder, so the center is gonna have a highlight. It's exactly like the other trunk we did. So we did this little trunk. It has a highlight in that center area. It doesn't have to be perfect, but it needs to be there. Okay, what did Dee say, Jean? Dee, what did you say? We need watercolor fairies to go with this tree, and then the elves will have friends. Yes, agree. That's so cute. Oh my gosh, Diane, yes, the Keebler Elves tree. So funny. It totally does. Oh, that's too funny. Okay, so I'm going to start taking this wet brush and start pulling out the colors from the tree here. Being sure to leave kind of that center area highlighted. I can always come in and add more color. But right now I'm just putting in that first layer of color into this tree. So I'm just going to come around anything. This is kind of laying under this big one, so it's going to have a bit of a shadow under here. I'm not tracing this. Remember, we're not tracing anything. We're just pulling color from the lines. We're going to leave that center area highlighted on everything, and then we can come back in and add a little bit more color where we want to. So I'm just coming along and treating every branch as its own area. And I need to get a little bit more water. Georgia. Georgia's eating Keebler elves as we speak. What timing, Georgia? Okay. This is going to be dark back in here. Okay, this might be a little bit darker. This is going to be darker. So it's kind of back on the side. All right. So I've started with my first little layer in here, and I think that's a good place to kind of stop and let it dry. Forgot to do that little bit. Okay. So we've got a really good, Catherine, Keebler elves are, they're the little, what are they? The little mascot of like a certain brand of cookies, I think. Georgia, wonderful vanilla cookies with chocolate filling. Yes. And they're just these cute little guys, and they are the little characters that this, I think it's, who makes the Keebler cookies that this company came up with? I don't know if it's a US based company or if they sell products globally, but they're just the cutest little guys. Okay. I'm going to bring in a little shadow now that I'm looking at this door. I've got to pull in just a little bit of a shadow in here just to give us a nice base for the color in the door. Okay. They're shaped like Keebler elves. Yes. I don't think they're in Canada, Catherine. I went up to visit my sister and I don't remember seeing them. They're like all over here. They're so yummy. Yeah. Oh, Keebler makes them. Oh, that's funny. Thanks, Cindy. The elves make the Keebler cookies. Okay, Pat. Keebler makes Keebler cookies. Wow. I shows you how observant I am. Okay, so I'm going to start putting in these tree leaves. How funny. Catherine, I'll just send you some cookies. You've got to try these. Okay, so number 177. And I'm going to take 177 and I'm going to ink that vine from the foliage set 1, okay? So that's the main vine. And I'm going to just ink these. Hi, Kathy. Good to see you. Oh, Jerry in Canada, Dollarama. Oh my goodness, they are in Canada. Fabulous. Diane, I don't work for Keebler. Oh my goodness, small print, right? P.S. No affiliation here. Oh my goodness, you guys. Okay, so I'm going to take that little vine and I'm just going to stamp it off, okay? Just like before, we want some dark ones and then the lighter ones we want to kind of feather out further. I really like these light ones because I think they just really build that background so well. Ginger loves the fudge stripes. Me too. I haven't, you know, you guys, I keep telling you I love these cookies. I haven't had them in years. But I do remember them, and it's like I can almost taste them again. Okay, keep going. If you're stamping with me, Keep on going. This is the longest part, getting your leaves into this guy. It's a big tree, so they take a while to get in there. And we're still on number 177, so we're going to come back in a little bit with the 249 to get some color differentiation in here. Super important for this because you're really close. So you're going to see where those leaves are. You're going to see the leaves really well. Okay, so I'm going to come back in and fill in some of this empty space. Remember, keeping the dark areas near the center or right where they connect to the branch. See, like right here, I want something dark here to connect into that branch, but I do like the lighter areas too. So I'm going to come in and just make sure that I have a darker stamp in there. Carrie, I can't remember the last time I had those cookies, but now I need to put them. I know, seriously. I know, that's so funny. I was just thinking that. I'm like, I haven't had them in so many years. Maybe I need to again. Randy, Kendra, why do you prefer the vine or foliage on this tree rather than the stamp you used on the other tree? Because this one's a lot closer than the other tree. So this one would be considered, well, I guess if you're going to put them together, this one would be further away. So you're going to see less of the leaves on this one and more of the leaves on this one. Of course, it just depends on how big you want this tree. So I made this tree really big by making the leaves really small. This tree I made big, but because you can see the leaves really well, it's just a wider, shorter tree. It's still large. You know, it's a full-grown tree, but it's not going to be 100 feet tall because also the door is telling you, okay, this door is about this high, so this tree can't be that big, right? I mean, it's a really whimsical tree, so because it's not huge, you're going to really be able to see those leaves. But on this one, if I put these leaves on here, that would shrink the tree like significantly. That would bring it closer to us and make it appear really, really small because the leaves would be very easy to see. I hope that makes sense. If you're not sure, definitely check out this video, part 1, because I go through the different leaves and why they're important. So that's an absolute, really important lesson on foreground, middle ground, background trees. But it really depends on how far away you want your tree. So if you want this one a lot closer and you want to shrink it down a little bit, use your larger foliage. You know, same thing here. If you want this tree to look huge and this door to be absolutely enormous, then you would use really tiny leaves because it'll set it back further. So I hope that makes sense. Yeah, it is a great question. It's one that once you get and it clicks, you're like, oh, okay. Like I'm going to be, however large the leaves are where it's going to be sitting in our image. So whether it's going to be foreground, middle ground, background, that's exactly where it's going to be sitting with the leaves. I hope that answers your question, Randy. Let me know if you need more clarification, okay? Okay, so I'm going to go 249. Okay, and oh, excellent. Great. Keep asking if you have more questions. That's why I'm here, you guys. I want to answer your questions. So excellent, excellent question. I do go into a little bit more depth in that part 1. If you need a little bit more deeper explanation than that, but that's why. In short. Okay, so I'm going to go around now with 249, and I really want this to have a differentiation in green. Now it's going to look really busy right now because we've got a lot of these stamps in there, but once I start dabbing, it is really going to spread out because we're going to have a lot of highlights in here and we're going to have a lot of dense areas. This is a big tree. So we want to make sure that we're getting enough leaves in here to really match the density of this big tree. Okay, I'm gonna put a couple little leaves on in here. All right. Great, great, great. Any questions so far? I'm gonna zoom in so that when I dab these, you can see. Okay, I'm gonna take my brush now and I'm gonna dab. And you'll see, because I'm right-handed, I will tend to start dabbing on the left and move to my right so that I don't put my hand in the wet ink, okay? So if you are right-handed, start on the left-hand side and move right for this bigger stuff because you will end up just smearing out your leaves. All right, I'm gonna dab and go into these lighter areas first, because I don't want to bring that super dark ink out into the lighter areas right away. So I can do this, and then once I go into that darker ink, you can see how it just spreads so nicely. And I'm just dabbing. Oh, Renee, great! This is a really good tree. And I don't know, there's other tutorials on this tree. I think there's one where my mom did it, and she has all these really beautiful purple, like wisteria-like flowers hanging down. It's absolutely stunning. So if you like this tree, definitely check that one out on YouTube. Karen, good point. Things you don't always think of. Oh yeah, with the starting on the left and moving right, I know. It's because I've done it so many times that I'm like, I'm doing something here that maybe I should change. Okay. Deanna's back. Hey, girl. We missed you. Okay. I'm just dabbing. I'm still dabbing. I know, doesn't it? When you put those other colors in too, I've found, Tina, when I use 2 greens, that always makes a huge difference. And when I use that hazing out of the ink on the ends, that makes a huge difference too. I think I'm learning to have a little more water on my brush when I dab. Teresa, me too. I like a good amount of water. It took me a little bit to be able to control more water, but it suits my style better. My mom will use very little. She'll really pull off that tip and really take out most of the water. And it's completely up to you what you want to do. But I like to have a good amount of water because I like that color to really move. And do you see how this just hazes out in the background when you use that really light ink? Okay, now we're gonna go back into our trunk and our door. I'm gonna use, oh yeah, Jerry, fall colors with this tree would be so beautiful. And you've learned how to do the seasons, so you could totally do this with fall colors. Okay. I'm going to take number 977, and this is just a little bit lighter brown. I like to blend out a lighter brown with a darker brown in here just to kind of give it a little bit different of a shade. Now, you're not going to use a ton of this. It's just going to be sort of, and I don't even know if it will come through on camera, but it's just going to be supporting that darker brown. And then we'll go back in with that 969. Now, if you use less water when you're going in with the color, you'll get a darker color, a deeper, richer color. So I'm going to go in with a little bit of water, just a small amount, and I'm going to begin to build in these shadows. So there's going to be shadows in here. And really, you can kind of decide where your shadows go. It doesn't have to be like in a specific spot. Wherever you put your shadows is where they go. Do a little bit down here. Come into the side. Remember, our sides are going to be dark because we want to highlight the center of that tree. Thanks, Sherry. Thank you. I love this tree too. It's, you know, once you get the coloring of the trunk, because it's really close now, right? So we've done further away trees and the trunk is really straightforward. You just kind of pull down your brush and put a little brown in and you're good to go. But when the tree is bigger, it does take a little bit more skill to put in these colors. But if you can think about it as if each one of these branches is just a pot or something circular, you know that your highlight has to be in the center of that, right? So if you break apart the image, it becomes a lot easier to sort of visualize where your highlights go. I'm going to let that dry now, and I'm going to put a little bit of color into our door. So this is 249. I'm going to put just a touch of color. Yes, Sherry. Sherry, we have a little door set, a little like Hobbit type door set that I begged and begged and begged for, I think for like 2 years. And finally my mom did one. And I'm going to have to do it on Back to Basics one of these days, but it's so cute. I wonder if, do I have a... I'm looking for a catalog right now, but I kind of don't think I have one handy. I don't have one handy, so let's see. I'll have to find that door for you next time, but the little Hobbit doors are so cute. So cute. Sandy, if the sun is coming from the side, you would leave the highlight on this side. Or the other side, and you would just do that for every single trunk or for every single branch, okay? I definitely show you that in the, what is that video? My little the shadows video that I did on YouTube. You will, I think, be able to visualize that a lot better if you watch that video. If you have watched that video, just use those same concepts on this, okay? So you would have the highlight here and it would get darker as you came over. But if you're just beginning, I would recommend keeping your highlight in the center, always. In the center or on the top of things, just think about that center area, leaving a little bit of white space or lighter area, and you're golden, okay? All right. Now I'm going to take a little bit more of that 969 and I'm going to go back in and once again go over those dark areas. See how I'm building these shadows in? Just building these shadows. Just like so. Going over all the areas. And just putting in a little bit more color. Love that. Oh, thanks, Paula. That was, honestly, I love the shadows video too. I do too. Yes. I don't know if it's a paper plate, Judy. I can't remember what I used for the sun and everything. I may have used a paper plate. But it was a couple of years ago, and I thought it was the greatest thing to be able to visualize shadows. So, I can't recall if I used a paper plate. I wouldn't put it past me though. That's for sure. Okay, so I'm just going to put in this little door here. And I mixed 249 and 565 just to get this color in. And I'm just going to wipe out a little bit of that. See, I left some white space. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it's got to be there. And then I'm going to bring this over and just shadow in that door even a little bit more. Now this side right here, this is going to be shaded in. That's going to be dark. So I'm going to take my twin tone and I'm just going to fill this dark area in. Whoops, I slipped a little bit on the bottom. That's okay. I get a little shaky sometimes, you guys. So occasionally my lines will be just a little wonky, but it's okay. We'll go with it. All right, I'm gonna put that. Yeah, Christina, you can do it without the door. It is a really nice tree. I have done it both ways. I've taught both ways. It is a great tree. If you do it without the door, I would suggest just putting a couple more little lines in here just to close out that blank area in the center that was sort of cut out for the door. But you don't need to have the door in there. This tree is just great on its own. And I'm just coming back in now and putting in the darker areas on this tree. I'm adding contrast. So the areas that I really want to pop out, I'm going to darken the space next to them because my highlights are what's popping, right? So if I darken these areas, this pops out because it's lighter. And our little rocks here, put a little line on there. See how that just really pops out those highlights? Yes, 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 yes. It is so easy. You just take your twin tone or a little brown marker and just put a few lines in and you're golden. Yes, it does, Deanna. I know, it really does. Just this twin tone for me is just, it's a must-have, or at least a fine point water-based brown that you can fill in these darker areas. If I zoom in, you can really see that contrast. Okay. Tina, that would be so cute. A little tire swing. You could do it, girl. Okay. So now I'm gonna take my grass, my teeny tiny grass. Let's see. If you don't want to use a door, you can, Christina, you can just use the fine tip marker. Yes, exactly. And then you would draw out the color just as if that line was part of the stamp. Okay, 177. And my teeny tiny grass, I'm going to take that and I'm just going to place some of this grass next to the little stones and the door. And I'm walking out that grass. Walk it out, walk it out. Just a little bit here. As a little, you're kind of hugging in that trail, this area here. You're hugging in, you're pulling the eye toward the door. You're framing that little doorway here with the grass. And then I like to come in here just a little bit in between these rocks and just kind of pull out some of, sorry, it's crooked because my arm doesn't go that way very well. So I'm going to pull this out. Just like that. And And then with our other big tree, remember we did the sky sort of in the center here. We're gonna do the same thing with that 565. Same thing with the 565, and I'm gonna come in and just start putting in that 565. And make sure you have enough water when you do this. That's really the only thing you gotta worry about is having enough water, because, or not using too much water, I should also say. But too much water, you can kind of corral in using a little, you know, paper towel or something. But if you don't have enough water, it's really going to get stripy on you. Would we add a shadow on the ground? Yes. So Diana, this is my shadow. It's really, really basic. I just use that to shadow in the tree, but you could certainly make it bigger if you want to. Totally up to you. But I just sort of use that very simple one. Because it's so big, the shadow for this size of a tree would probably go past my paper. But I was like, well, we'll just kind of rein it in for this one. I'm going to put this blue behind to the side. Put a little bit more in here just to darken up that blue area. You know, the blue works really well with this green, this 249. And if you get a little bit into your sky, it actually doesn't look bad. It's fine. It's like the tree came to life right on the paper. I know, Teresa. It's the technique. It honestly is. Like, once you get the step-by-step basics on how to do these, you will find that they're actually very easy to do. Like, I mean, this took me, I don't know. I mean, I was teaching you, so if I wasn't teaching you, it would probably take me, you know, 15 minutes maybe to color everything and to get the leaves in, get the ground in, all the background and everything. So they actually go pretty quickly once you're confident in it. And this is a basics. You can do it. Once you think about, so if you were to cover this, you can see the darker areas on the outside, the highlight on the inside. Same thing here. Darker, darker, highlight in the center, highlight in the center, highlight in the center, highlight in the center. So it's really, that's what you're looking at. Just the little bits of the image instead of looking at it as a whole. Yes, Paula, you can do it. You can do it. Looking forward to a craft day with my sis and we can binge watch and play all day long. Fantastic. Oh my gosh, I love that idea. Love the darker blue closer to the tree. Thanks, Jerry. I just started doing that not too long ago. But as you can see, things change when you just, you know, you keep going and you keep practicing and you're like, oh my word, my style sort of changes as I, you know, get more confident or as I practice more. So, yeah, I mean, I've kind of noticed myself doing things like that, and you'll notice the same in your own art. Okay, so I am going to switch back around and okay, hopefully. Hi. Hi, everyone. Okay, so that's it, you guys. We made it. I hope if you were stamping along with me that you were able to create something you loved, and if not, keep practicing. You know, a lot of this is just oh, thank you to everybody who just reminded me to sign. Thank you, Barbara. I'm gonna sign it right now. Okay, I'm gonna sign, actually I didn't sign either of them. So Barbara, thank you, appreciate that. Because usually it's me being like, did you sign it? And I will show you as proof that I have signed them. Okay. All right. Okay, I have signed this one right there. Oops, right there. And I have signed that one right there. Okay, there's my proof for you. I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Next week, we're gonna be doing snow. So snow on trees, okay? I'm not sure what set I'm gonna use for that yet, to be determined, but I will have Claire, she's been wonderful posting onto the products page on the blog. So I will let her know, hopefully in advance, what set I'll be using for that. I'm just not sure yet. So, but we are going to be doing snow on trees because, you know, summer's going to be over and winter's going to be coming again, like it does every year, unless you live in a tropical area, you know. But for those of us who live in, you know, areas that get snow, then, or you know someone that lives in an area that gets snow, then you might want to learn this. So anyway, you guys, I love you so much. I hope you had a great time with me. I had a great time with you, as always. And the sets again that we used were the large tree set, 5373. That's going to be that one. And also Watercolor Fairy Doors set 5056. And that's going to be that one. And then I also used this vine for the big tree and that little grass for for both trees. I used the grass on both trees, but the vine was used on the big tree, and then on this tree I used this leaf right here that comes with the set. Okay, so I love you guys so much. If you can't get enough Art Impressions watercolor, you can always check us out on YouTube, Art Impressions Rubber Stamps, and we've got hundreds, actually, watercolor tutorials on there, and you can go watch. I will be posting this tutorial also on YouTube, and it is a better quality if you go to the YouTube once it's been posted. It might take a day or two to post, but it's well worth the wait because it's actually in HD, so it's a really, really good quality. Of course, I'll be saving this to the Facebook timeline if you can't wait for that one, and it will be available there. Check out my mom, Bonnie Krebs Bible Journaling, on Instagram if you want more inspiration. She does all the really fun, like, reels, the little videos and things, and she's just super inspiring, as we know. So check her out for sure. You guys, I just had a little alert that said I was losing connectivity, so I hope you guys did. Next week, I love you so much. Mwah. Bye.